Hey guys, how you all doing? We're back down here at Paleolimpico in Torino, ready for semi-final 2. I can't believe we're already at semi-final 2 stage, and we're here to talk about our predictions. It's going to be a tough one again, guys, because so many great songs in the semi-final. We've got Jess ready with her list. We're going to go through the countries, starting with Finland. I know this is one of your favourites.
This is one of my favorites, but I have it down as a non-qualifier, surprisingly, and this is really breaking my heart. I just think that Lauri's vocals, when he starts the song, are very weak, even though the visuals are amazing, and I would love them to see through, but it's just such a hard semi-final, and everyone's other vocals are flawless, so it's like, it's not a bad performance that Lauri as a singer is giving, it's just that the other ones are outstanding, so that's why I'm so broken-hearted.
Yeah, I have to say that after watching the run-through last night of the jury show, I do actually have Finland down as a non-qualifier also, which really surprises me because when the Rasmus were announced, I really like Jezebel. It's a fantastic song. There's just something in the performance that isn't cutting it for me. They might still be able to ride through on their kind of popularity as a band, but based on what we saw last night, I think this would be borderline. I don't think this is going through.
Yeah, I have to agree. What I saw last night, we missed the rehearsals of this when it was the second rehearsals because we had gone to do some interviews. It's a tremendous, maybe not tremendous, but it's a pretty, it's a downgrade from what we saw at the national selection. So unfortunately, I don't think this is cutting it. I like that there's certain nods to like Pennywise the Clown from It at the very beginning, which is pretty cool. But performance is not there, vocals are not there, and visually not that interesting, I have to say.
Yeah, I would have to agree with all of you. As much as I love this song and love the Rasmus, and I do really like the staging they're bringing, the colour scheme that's going on and the balloons I love, but the song itself is not standout enough for me. They are opening the show, which could work against them, and I think vocal-wise they are a little bit weak, so I'm not convinced they're going to qualify.
I disagree with all of you, actually. I think it will qualify. I think, look, the vocals aren't as good as they could be, but I don't think they're as bad. I don't think they're any worse than UMK, which, you know, got top of the jury, top of the televote in that national final. Staging, I think, looks quite interesting. It's a powerful song to open the show, good rock vibes. At the very least, juries might not go for it as much to get in the top 10, but I think it's the Rasmus. They'll have enough televote support, I think, to squeak through.
Well, now we're moving on second to Israel, and probably, for me, one of the most polished performances in this semi-final. But Stu, let's go to you first.
So, in my opinion, this will probably qualify. I personally could do without it in the final, but as you mentioned, it is quite a polished performance. And the beginning, it really sells the camp factor right away, and that's going to work for some people. I see that this song definitely has an audience. The thing I guess that could be a deal breaker is if, let's say, later on in the show, people gravitate more towards a song like Worse, that is also quite flamboyant, not as flamboyant, but is danceable and, you know, has a little bit more character, I would say, than this like really polished song that comes right from RuPaul's Drag Race. So yeah, I'm expecting this to qualify, but maybe not so comfortably.
I agree with everything Stuart has said. For me, in my mind, this song is addressed to a particular audience, and it's also an invitation for the rest of the audience to enjoy. For me, I have it down as a qualifier. I think Michael Ben Davis is a very strong performer, and his vocals are there, and the movements are there. The camera shots are very clean and polished. So yes, I have this down as a yes.
I don't have this down as a qualifier. However, I think since 2017 was the last time a song from Slot 2 got to the final, I think this is the best chance of someone going again. As you said, it's a very polished performance. Michael Ben David probably has arguably the best dance moves, best choreography in the semi-final. However, I just worry if the song is strong enough for jury support and it's running on the spot of Slot 2, I feel it might be overshadowed by later songs.
I personally see this as a qualifier. After watching his rehearsals, the choreo is very, very slick, very well executed on stage, and the visuals and the graphics that we see coming up on stage work very well in my opinion. And I think this, along with the great performance that they're giving and the song that they have, I think is enough to get them into the top 10.
Yeah, I could see this qualifying, but I have it down as borderline because it has got a very specific audience, and I don't feel, for me personally, I don't feel like I'm really resonating with this song, but visually this looks fantastic on stage. So, who's next, Stu? Who's next?
Pete Strava. So Serbia, again, one that I saw for the first time yesterday, and I'm actually a little bit concerned. I think it's still going through. I think it is, but I don't know. Maybe there just wasn't the energy that I had envisioned in my mind. It will probably be better tonight for the televised show. I imagine that with a full audience, people will be clapping along, and Constructa will be feeding off that energy. I still see this as qualifying because of the uniqueness of it and because of the memeable qualities of it. I think that's quite appealing. And Serbia tends to get a decent amount of support, whether it's diaspora or whether it's neighboring countries. So I think that could work in their favor.
Oh, I really feel for you that you were a little concerned last night. I have to say, I mean, it was, out of all the rehearsals and run-throughs that we've seen, she probably seemed like the most nervous, maybe. I've not really seen that, but for me, this is a definite qualifier. It really got the press centre, they were clapping along. It really has an audience, this song, and people are going to be intrigued as to what it's about. So, yeah, for me, without a doubt, this is going through.
Yeah, this is going through. I think it has piqued the interest of most people, and at the very least, you're going to be wondering what's going on stage, and then when everyone goes like the beat is drava, it's what definitely catches you.
And
yes.
to je sve.
For me, this is a surefire qualifier, mostly just for the uniqueness of this song and the kind of differentness, if that's even a word, of this song. It's unlike anything in this whole Eurovision. It's going to captivate people. It's going to make people think, why is she washing her hands? Why is she singing about Meghan Markle? And it's, in my opinion, it's going to pique people's interest, and they're going to be like, okay, that was different. I like it. I'm going to vote for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Serbia being in the top 10 of this semi-final.
It's destiny.
No, she was last year. But no, look, the song isn't for me personally, but the performance itself, there's almost like a... Constructa almost carries like almost a haunting, like a almost eerie nature to her, which really draws you in, really captures your attention. I really like the lighting for this, especially before that second chorus. I think it's very striking. So, yeah, Serbia overall, again, have a good qualifying record, and I don't think this is going to break it.
Do we have Azerbaijan next?
Yes, we do.
Oh, the man with the voice. I think this is going through. I love his voice. I think the staging is beautiful. I really want this to go through, and I think it will tonight.
I have it down as a non-qualifier though, but it's because there's 3 male ballads, 3 sad boys in this semi-final, and I have had to sacrifice one. And this was the one I chose to sacrifice. Though a friend of mine made a very good point, saying that some other sad ballads go after very energetic performances, so maybe they have that hinders their chance. But it's not about Nadir, it's not about the staging, it's about there being two other crying boys.
Sorry, no.
Clara, trust me, you can't have too many sad boys in the final, I don't think. Listen, it's an interesting one, Azerbaijan, this year, because if you look back, I think this is the first time since like 2015 Azerbaijan have actually sent like a full-fledged ballad to Eurovision, which, it's not something they usually do. I see this, I've been debating this in my head, I do see this as just getting through, because Azerbaijan do have a reputation of just like, they don't send like the amazing like top 5 song, but they'll send a song that's good enough to just get in the final. Nadir's vocals are very good throughout. The staging does capture your attention. So yeah, I don't see this being high in the top 10, but in the top 10 nonetheless.
Yeah, for me, I also see this qualifying to the final, and I think juries are really going to love this song, especially because mostly I think for the staging, I feel the staging really elevates the song much more, and I think that's going to help him go through to the final.
In my case, I agree more with Clara about how there seem to be other songs that are in this style in the semi that are more appealing. And I feel like the song itself is quite forgettable. And I was expecting to be a little bit more engaged with it, with the staging, but then when we actually saw it, I didn't feel that impressed by it. I feel like it's a beautiful concept that isn't really properly done justice by the camera work. I still, because of the things that you said, Harry, I think that could be a possibility where it just gets through. But yeah, I wouldn't personally place any money on it.
Now, this is where I lose track, because I have no idea who's next.
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia.
That's a yes from me. Come on, they're so fun, they're so colorful. The song is really catchy. They really have very fun lyrics to it, and their personality is wacky. So yeah.
We've got something fun coming up with Georgia later on today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really, really want this to go through. I'm not sure if everyone is going to get it, but I think when you see the stage and when you just see how crazy he is, and he looks like the singer, I don't know his name, but he looks like kind of Johnny Depp in Willy Wonka. I just think people are going to like it. I can see it's getting votes from the UK actually because of the craziness. But yeah, I hope it goes through. Again, it will be borderline, but I would love to see these boys in the final.
Sorry, I got distracted by a dog.
There is like the cutest dog running around
In the
here.
audience.
He wants to join the Vox squad.
Anyway, for me, this is one of those like should qualify. Like I could see it potentially missing out because I know that Georgia is not always the most well appreciated, but definitely one of the most elevated when it's come to the visuals. This looks so good. You know, got lots of color, but done so in a well orchestrated way that it doesn't feel messy. And I love like certain moments where you get a wide shot and they've got these kind of two circles on the side of the sun and then the mouth in the center, you know, like singing the lyrics, and it looks like one big wacky face. And then also the reveal that we get in the toy box, which I won't say much about if you haven't seen it. Yeah, I really hope that this goes through. I could see it just missing out, but I'm leaning more towards yes.
For me, this is one that misses out. There's definitely a world where I can see this qualifying. It's not necessarily a world I would want to live in, but it's not one of my favourites. Look, Georgia's very out of the box, it's very colourful, which will stand out in this year's Eurovision. I mean, it's a polarising entry, so it can go one of two ways, but I think Latvia showed on Tuesday not every polarising entry will qualify. And Georgia, especially with their qualifying record, do need to send something, you know, really good to go through to the final. And I think with the competition in this semi, it will just miss out.
I'm very on the fence now because this morning
Fence.
I know I'm still stuck on that fence, but this morning when I was trying to come up with the list of 10 countries I thought would qualify, I didn't have Georgia in my top 10, even though I would love them to qualify and I think it would be a deserving song and performance to get through to the final. I'm just on the fence. I'm not sure whether people are going to kind of resonate with the song, whether they're going to think this is too crazy, too kind of weird or quirky, I'm not going to vote for this, or whether they're going to think, actually, yeah, this is quirky, I like it. So it might just scrape through or it might just miss.
All right. Who's next? It's Malta.
Malta.
Qualifying. I've said it all along. I haven't changed my mind.
Qualifying, I guess. I feel like it's a bit of a hollow song and performance. There is a likability about it, which might work for them, but I think this is kind of like, as I've said before, it feels like Malta is filling in the gap that Sweden has left this year, where it's a performance with polish and it's a more or less catchy melody. But in this case, what Sweden tends to do that Malta hasn't done this time is, I don't know, I guess make you feel connected to it. Personally, I don't feel any connection to it, and I think that could ultimately compromise this as a qualifier, but maybe that's the best I can do.
Yeah, for me this is a qualifier for sure. I opposite to you, I do connect with her and her likability, and she just reminds me like not of me, but like of a girl growing up and trying to discover who she is, and I think there's a big audience for that.
And I love the sneakers with the dress.
Yes,
Yeah.
She looks great. She really looks great.
I honestly don't think we're agreeing on anything at the moment, because I've got down.
You can go.
I've got this down as a non-qualifier. I think, like Stu said, it's a very hollow entry, very hollow staging. It's almost like, when I've seen Emma perform, it's almost like you can tell she's thinking of the next move as she's performing it. There's no real connection, to the song. And rather than like a connection to Sweden in the past, I feel like Malta's just going back to pre-2018, where they're sending something that's a bit more empowering, inspiring. It'll probably do quite well with the juries, but again, I think this is seriously flopping with the televote. Maybe bottom three, even last place potentially.
Oh.
So I don't see this.
Well, in contrast, I think this is qualifying. It's got a likability factor. It's a very kind of up-tempo, happy, anthemic kind of song with a great message behind it, and I think people are gonna really like this.
Who's next?
San Marino.
For himself.
I don't even need to say, do I? Of course it's qualifying.
Yeah, this looks amazing. This is the best looking rock performance that we have of the year. Fortunately, I don't think that, as we thought it might be in the past, because he's Italian, because he's got this real, androgyny and like really overt sexuality about him, there were concerns that people would see this as like, oh, this guy's trying to do what Maneskin does. But I don't think that's going to be the case. This has got a totally different vibe to it, and it's a lot of fun. So yes, this is qualifying.
Yes, this is really qualifying for me, and there's nothing I'm going to add because there's nothing to add.
It's amazing.
When
We love it.
When it works, and you don't have to justify it.
Yeah, this is 100% qualifying. The song and the staging and Achille Lauro, everything is just on point and it works.
This is probably one of my favourite stagings of this year, and you have no idea how much I want to be wrong when I say that I don't think this is qualifying. Simply, look, I'll happily leave with this comment, to be fair, because I love this, to be fair. I think it's chaos at its best. It's pyro, mechanical bull, everything. However, it is San Marino, and people have had criticisms of the song. Juries still might look at that. And also, at the end of the day, you look at last year's Senate Adrenalina, one of the fan favourites, still only came 9th in the semi-final and got a very low televote score. So San Marino usually has a bit of an uphill battle. I see this coming like 11th or 12th, but just missing out. But trust me, I want to be wrong.
I really, really hope you're wrong. If I hope you're wrong, it's about this one. Who's next?
Next up we have Australia.
Ooh.
For me, this is definitely qualifying. I think the song and the vocal performance that Sheldon gives is strong enough to get them into the final. The staging, whilst I think the outfit he's wearing is a bit kind of over the top for this type of song, I think the staging with all of the stairs that he has and everything going on works. I think it's captivating, and I would be surprised if this didn't qualify.
Jess, it's Sheldon Riley. He does not know the definition of over the top. This is Sheldon Riley to a T. And yeah, I see this qualifying. Honestly, with this song, I think even if it had like a mess staging to bad, which I don't think it is, Sheldon's vocals and the song quality itself would get more than enough jury support and more than enough even televote support to see this through. Australia, apart from last year, usually do well. I think this is very stunning, very memorable vocally. And yeah, this will qualify. I've got no doubt.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. Even I feel like the simplicity of the song, like at least the simplicity of the lyrics that really makes the message accessible actually works. I know that it's one of the things that make people not really like the song that much, but I think that for Eurovision, making it easy to understand and visually complementing that as well, I think is a really nice combination. Plus, one of the best vocalists that we have this year, and he has been able to keep himself composed for that last part of the song, which I think is really, really crucial. Yeah, this is qualifying.
Yeah, you stole my words. He is one of the best vocalists of not only the semi-final but of
the year.
This year. He's fantastic. The real impact moment comes when he kind of takes off his mask, and I think people are going to be really, really touched by that. So I see this. I actually see all the Sad Boy songs going through in this semi-final, and even if people don't pick up their phone, I think the juries will send this through easily. So who is next? Cyprus. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with Cyprus because I was so confident in this going through to the final. After watching the performance yesterday, I'm not so confident actually seeing the whole show all together. She looks stunning. Visually, it looks very nice on stage. I love what they've done with the shell. I just feel this is going to get lost. And I don't quite know why, but I'm a bit worried about Cyprus this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it down as a non-qualifier because of that. Her vocals are very dreamy. It's all very dreamy, but there's a lack of oomph. Yeah, so
yeah. I would say...
Did I hit you?
No. I just thought you were pointing it further beyond me. It's fine. Anyway, Cyprus, yes. Cyprus. What we saw in the jury show yesterday, she was a little bit out of tune, I have to say. I don't think it's going to be enough to really compromise the qualification. I think the issue with the staging is that it doesn't develop that much. Like it's really, it's very visually appealing off the start, but it kind of stays static, and it's really depending on the lights and projections to carry it. So potentially it could miss out, but I'm leaning towards a qualification for this anyway.
Well, I'm still stuck on the fence with this one. I think the song is a really good song, and in general, Andrea Macchi is a great vocalist. But from what I've seen in the rehearsals and the jury show, her vocals have fallen a bit flat, I found, and I think for that reason, I think she might struggle to pick up votes from people. So it could just qualify or just miss out, I think.
Harry, you're going to have to come in. Come in, bro.
That's fine. You know, it could struggle, but I see this just sneaking through. It's got very good visual. The shell is very striking. It will help it stand out. It's probably one of the most ethnic songs we have this year. I've said that from the beginning. And Cyprus overall, I don't think they've failed to qualify since like 2013. They've got a very good qualifying record. And I mean, they've qualified with much worse in my opinion. So I see this going through.
Who's next?
So next up we have Ireland, and this is one that I'm kind of on the fence with again. It's a great pop track in my opinion, very well written and performed by Brooke and her dancers. I do really like the staging, not keen on the colour scheme going on, but the overall choreography I think is great. It's a very kind of up-tempo pop song that will have a market that people will vote for it, but will they vote enough? I'm not so sure.
Are you on the fence about all of them in case you're so you can just
Pretty
say you get
good.
them all right?
On that
You can just
page
get them all
after
right
one, yeah.
in case. Listen, Ireland's one of those where I see it non-qualifying, but it's not necessarily for critical or even analytical reasons. Because I honestly think that Brooke has done all she can to make this qualify. For once in ages, Ireland have just kept the staging simple. They've kept it as polished as they can. They've kept it powerful. It's just one of those gut feelings when I see it. I know the nation, Ireland, they've come last the last 2 years. This shouldn't come last again. If Ireland come last in the semi-final, I feel really bad for them. But it's just one of those gut feelings. It's a very strong semi-final, and I see this missing out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that you said, it seems they have elevated it. The key issue for me is the fact that it's too cute for the kind of attitude that the song has, and I feel like if they got that part down, then this would qualify pretty comfortably because Brooke is doing very well vocally. From a choreography point of view, it's very entertaining to watch. But yeah, I could see because it's Ireland's, this could just miss out.
Yeah, it's a no from me. I have a lot of respect for Brooke as an artist, and she's entertaining to interview, and she's a fantastic person to do press with. But there is this song is very well recorded, and I enjoy the recorded version. The live, there's something missing for me, so I have it as a no.
I think this is just going to miss out as well, and it's a shame because this has been such a glow up from kind of the the Late Late Show performance a couple of months ago. For me, she's turned in from a girl into a woman, and you can see that in the staging. It's still fun, it's very her, but one of the things that surprised me most was the vocals have been really good during the rehearsals, and I'm so proud of her, but I don't know. I'm struggling with this one, but I think it may just miss out, and I'm sad about that.
So the next country is North Macedonia.
North Macedonia. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't think this is going to go through. Love Andrea. She's got a great voice. There's just something not sitting right with me with this, and for me, it's a little bit forgettable. So I'm going to say non-qualifier for North Macedonia.
Yeah, it's a non-qualifier for me for the same reasons you just said.
Yeah, really, same thoughts, same reasons. I do really like Andrea. I wish she had a better and more polished song, but I think that at least when you see her and you're watching her, she believes in it, and I think that's probably the best, the like selling point of it. So, I respect to her, but sadly, I don't see this in the final.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Andrea is a great performer, but I feel like the song is quite forgettable and not strong enough in this lineup to qualify.
Look, we've seen the stage. There's half circles. There ain't going to be any full circles in the final, certainly. Listen, Andrea seems like a lovely person. North Macedonia struggle a lot. What I will say, they haven't hurt their chances with the staging. I think the staging is, solid enough. But I'd argue this is probably the most forgettable track in the semi-final, and it's probably the one I'm most sure is in qualifying.
So next up we have Hope from Stefan.
Okay. So probably one of the ones that's been most affected by the issues with the sun. Again, one that I struggle with because I really like this one. I've actually heard a lot of people here saying they had Estonia down as one of their favourites coming into this competition. I'm getting on that fence with you, Jess, because I can't. It could scrape through as a qualifier at the moment. I've probably got it on my non-qualifiers list, which is a shame because it is a really good song. Stefan's a really great singer, but I really think they've been impacted by the staging here.
Yeah, I agree. I have it as a no, and because they had slight time to work around the sun being there, but it seems like they didn't, or the little work or the work they did is not visible or is not impactful enough. So I have it no.
To be honest, this is actually one I'm quite confident on in qualifying. Honestly, look, I feel so bad for Stefan. I feel so bad for the Estonian delegation. Of all the, as you said, of all the countries to be affected by the sun, definitely Estonia has been affected the most. But from what I've seen of it, I first of all, I think the song is just quality enough to qualify. It'll get good enough jury support, good enough televote support. And Stefan just, he moves around the stage. He has a load of charisma. This will be, I think, livened up by an audience tonight. And I'm actually quite confident this still qualifies.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, I'm afraid, and say that I think this is a non-qualifier. Stefan is great, but I feel like the song is not strong enough to get him into the final. And from seeing his performance in the jury final yesterday, I thought his vocals were quite weak in places, so I think he is going to struggle.
So I've done a real 360 in the sense that I was heading towards qualification, saw the rehearsals, thought that it wasn't going to qualify, then have gone back, and I'm on board with you because I think now having seen it refined, I think at the very least they've kept the focus on him. And even though there's not a lot going on the stage, and that yes, it was supposed to give this feeling of a landscape that's been obstructed by the sun, I think that they've at least got that part down where he's the focus. Vocally, I would say overall good. Maybe struggling with the low notes, but really got that great kind of Johnny Cash inspired sound. And the song is anthemic. And I just feel like after all the non-qualifiers we've talked about, there's space. And I think that if there's any song that has a chance, it would be this one to fill in one of those empty slots.
Have we got Poland next?
No, Romania.
Oh, love me, baby. Oh, this has to go through. Love watching him perform on stage. I think people are going to love this at home. I think it's going to pick up a lot of televotes especially. And really proud of him because he's come here, he's done such a good job representing Romania. He's such a lovely, polite, fun to be with guy. He really deserves to go through, and I can see this qualifying.
Yes, it's one of my favorite songs, and it has everything I want on stage and vocally. So yeah.
I'm very happy to say that this seems like it's qualifying. Again, it could just miss out, and maybe it's going to be kind of like the split that we were thinking about between Latvia and Moldova in semifinal one, where it's only one of the two. If I had to choose, it would be this one because I think it's musically more interesting and he's more likable on camera. So I feel like this could qualify.
Yeah, for me, this is definitely qualifying. Great song, great staging, great kind of presence on stage. Eye-catching, draws you in, great instrumental. I can't see this not qualifying.
I'm genuinely surprised we've all got this down as a qualifier because this is one of the. I'm genuinely surprised we've all got this down as a qualifier because from what I've seen, it's very much a 50-50 whether this will. It's borderline. I've got this down as a qualifier. I think. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm going to say W. Wood.
It's like a
Yeah.
Oos. There we go. It got a lot of charisma, a lot of great dance moves on stage.
Was that a bee wanting to join the Vox squad as
I
well?
think it was a ladybug.
A ladybug. Where was I? So it's very fun. The only thing that worries me slightly is jury support because I don't know if any of you saw this on the Euro jury. This actually got 0 points from that. But I think this is fun, very uplifting. And it's been ages since Romania's been in the final. Now it's been far too long. They always are very close. Let's get them back in there.
Now can we talk about Poland? So qualifying. Love it.
Yes.
Bad effects aside, yes.
For me, this is definitely qualifying. Not loving the graphics on stage, that might be a slight hindrance, but otherwise, he's great. The song's great. It's qualifying.
You know what? I think this is a very a good staging that could, with perfected graphics, be exceptional.
Totally.
But listen, I honestly think this is Poland's best entry in years, and it should get them their best result. So with that, they're qualifying.
Oh, who's next?
Next up is Montenegro.
I liked the song when it was released. I don't think the staging has done it any justice. She looks lovely on stage, but I don't like this kind of prop that she has behind her. It's a distraction. It just looks cheap to me, I think. So not qualifying for Montenegro this year.
No, unfortunately, it's a no from me too.
Yeah, in my case, it's really more to do with the song than anything else. I think we've seen actually pretty good vocals from her. I know that at some of the pre-parties she struggled with the high notes, but she's definitely improved. I quite like the prop that she's got behind her and the way that it lights up with her dress. I think it's one of the things that helps the performance stand out. But sadly, I don't think that this is going to get enough jury or televote support. Maybe more from the juries for at least being vocally well-rounded. And I like the instrumentation, but I think what we're getting in the experience of Eurovision is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, as beautiful as this song is, I think the song is rather forgettable, and I think the staging that she has with the prop that she has is kind of limits her to just standing in one place and she can't move around. It's quite restricting, and I think it's going to struggle to stand out personally.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've got tables at my house that look very similar to her prop behind her. But I don't see this qualifying. I think the running order hasn't helped it at all, being next to Poland. It's, two ballads back to back, and I think Poland's much superior in staging and in song quality. But one thing I've got to applaud Montenegro on is, at the very least, it very much seems like they're trying this year, which before they left in 2019, I don't think can be said for every year. So I really hope that they're encouraged by this. I hope they get a decent result, but not qualifying.
Yeah, I think there's just a disconnection between what she's singing about and what she's wearing on the staging. Yeah.
But in terms of what we've seen her wearing, it's not as scary as we thought it might be, right?
Oh no, this is quite tame compared to what we thought.
Yeah. Who's next?
Next up is Belgium.
Belgium.
It's a no from me, and it's really sad because I really like Belgium. I like Jeremy, I like the dancers. They have a fun vibe going on, but there's something missing. There's no wow factor.
Yeah, he just didn't feel comfortable on stage yesterday for me. I don't know whether there's been technical issues with this, but this song doesn't suit his personality, and he's got an amazing personality, and I think it shows actually in the performance that we saw last night. Maybe he will pull it out of the bag tonight, and if he does, I'll be happy for him because he's such a great vocalist, such a great guy. But at the moment, for me, not qualifying.
This is a quite safe no for me. I think Belgium's very hit or miss with staging usually, and this is quite a big miss. It doesn't seem. I like the beginning. I think it's very anthemic, very lighting. But after that, it feels too condensed on the stage. There isn't a lot going on. Movements feel too small. And Jeremy's vocals are fine. They're solid overall. But while this could have some jury support, there's a lot of songs which could have jury support. So yeah, I don't see Belgium.
I'm back on that fence again with Belgium. Song-wise, it's a great song, and I think Jeremy and the dancers perform it well, but the staging for me is a little bit underwhelming, and so I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of remembered enough to get into that top 10 with the juries and the televoters. So I think it could possibly just make it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would agree with Jess. I could see it going through. I think we all agree that there's something missing, or at least the staging feels underwhelming in a few ways. But I think at the very least, it's one of those pop songs that's got like a really catchy top line, and I know that juries tend to really like that. So if he's able to sell it, well, I mean, we've seen the jury show, and maybe not the best performance that we've seen, but I think that it could still make it through on jury points. Maybe the televote is not going to be as crazy about it.
And now I know who's next. Sweden.
Yeah.
Qualifying.
Qualifying.
I have no doubt in my mind that this is qualifying, and it's still a potential winner for me.
I'll say the same thing as I did in the Melody Festival and Live. Don't even bother announcing this. Just put it in the graphic already and announce the other line.
There we go. And finally, Czech Republic, which I actually have down as a potential qualifier this evening. The vocals have improved greatly from what we saw in the pre-parties. They seem really happy with the performance, so I can actually see people voting for this tonight.
I have it down as a qualifier, surprisingly. It was between Finland or the Czech Republic, and I chose the Czech Republic because if you haven't heard the actual track, her vocals don't bother at all. It's just like the processing behind the backing vocals and her actual vocals don't match very well, but if you are able to tune that out, it's a fantastic performance, and the light show is fantastic and amazing.
Sorry.
I never know.
You're always surprised when the mic comes to you.
It's literally in your face.
But it looks like it's pointing that way. Anyway, I have this as a safe qualifier. It looks really cool. The only thing that I don't like is the statues. I find my eyes are really drawn towards the statues, and it's a bit distracting. But it just looks super cool. They look like they're having a great time. Light show is really great. And I'm very happy to say that I feel like this is a safe qualifier.
So I was umming and ahhing over this song all morning, and I'm still doing the same thing now.
Are you on the fence?
I am. I'm still stuck on that fence, I'm afraid. The song is good. The staging, in my opinion, apart from the statues we see, is great. The light show we get with this is great. And I think for the staging, I think it could just make it, but I'm not 100% convinced.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. This is the best Czech Republic staging I've ever seen. I've got no doubt that this is qualifying.
Well, There we go, guys. So, I mean, could you pick 10 out of those ones that we've just gone through? We would love to know who you think is going to be qualifying in the second semi-final tonight. Guys, if I had to ask you to pick a winner from tonight, who would you pick?
San Marino.
Sweden.
Either San Marino or Sweden.
He said one.
Well, to be fair, I don't have San Marino as a qualifier, so Sweden.
I would say Sweden as well, but closely followed by San Marino as well. But guys, we'd love to know what you think. Who's going to be going through to the final? Make sure you drop your top 10 from this semi-final in the comments below and let us know your favourite of the whole Eurovision. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Follow us on our socials on Insta, Twitter and Facebook. And we will catch you later, guys. We're live streaming the second semi-final. We'll see you then.